Today we're going to look at solving linear equations, specifically one-step equations. So we start out with an example that looks something like this. 26 equals 8 plus, let's say, x. On the side, what would we like it to look like or get to? So here's what we want. We always want to either have x on one side or whatever variable on one side and then the number on the other side, or maybe the number can be on the left and the variable, in this case the x, can be on the right. That's our final goal in solving an equation. All right, so when we look at this 26 equals 8 plus x, you want to always try to isolate the variable. You can see our variable is just an x. It's actually 1x, right? There's an invisible 1 in front of it. So when that's the case, it's just an x, we look around it, in front of it, and behind it and say, okay, is there anything we need to get rid of so that the x will be isolated? Yep, you've guessed it. We get rid of the 8 so that the x can be isolated or by itself on that side of the equal sign. So you look at the 8 sign, it's a positive 8, right? If you look to the left of the 8, there's nothing there, but it's implied to be a plus sign. When we don't see a sign to the left of a number, it's implied to be positive. So you always do the opposite operation. So opposite of a positive or opposite of a plus 8 is negative or minus. So you do negative 8 or minus 8, whatever you want to call it. And what you do from one side, you do to the other side of the equal sign or the other side of the equation. That's something you always need to remember. What you do to one side, you always have to do to the other side. So if we're moving from left to right, you can go ahead and say, okay, 26 minus 8 is 18. Bring down your equal sign. And this positive 8 and negative 8 make nothing, and that's what we wanted, right? So then our positive x, so just x can just come right down. And then we're done. X is equal to 18. So we just now solved that equation. Let's look at another one. If we have something like this, x minus 12 equals 20. All right, it looks a little bit different because on this one we have the variable on the left-hand side of the equal sign, but still no problem, no big deal. And we said that our goal was to either get the x, the variable on the left, or on the right. So it's already on the left here, so I'm just going to try to keep it on the left. But I say to myself, okay, to isolate this x, what do I need to get rid of on the left-hand side of the equal sign? Well, I need to get rid of that 12. Right now it's a minus 12, so we do the opposite to get rid of it. The opposite of the minus is plus. And then if you recall from the last problem, I said whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must always do to the other side, right? It's like you're on a seesaw and have to balance it. You have to do the same thing to both sides. So you just bring down the x. When you have plus 12 with that minus 12, that makes nothing, right? And that's what we wanted. So bring down the equal sign. And now the x is by itself. That was our goal. And now positive 20 and positive 12 is positive 32, right? So positive 32, and now we're done. Okay, if we try another one, let's say we have y. I'll use a different variable this time. We'll use a y is equal to, let's keep it on the left, I suppose. Y plus some value. We'll say plus 6 is equal to, let's make it 15. All right, so here we're looking at this problem and we would like to get the y by itself. We want to isolate the variable as always. Okay, so to isolate that variable, inside of the equal sign, we have to get rid of that 6, right? So 6 plus 6, so we do the opposite, which would be, and we said, what you do to one side of the equal sign, you always do to the other side, or what you do to one side of the equation, you always do to the other side, right? So if that's the case, we subtract 6 from both sides, so we bring down the y. Positive 6 and negative 6 make nothing, that's what we wanted. Bring down the equal sign. And here, 15 and a negative 6. When signs are different, you subtract and take the sign of the larger number. So that'll be 9, positive 9. So this was solving linear equations, one-step equations.